Following lunch, your blood sugar drops. So please, if you need to stand and walk so that we can stay awake, there's coffee outside, there's water. Okay. There's also seconds and thirds and fourths. If you need, there's more lunch on the side. The local host committee has promised us solid food after this. So please keep space for Okra and Okriniji that will follow after this. Are we ready? Please, we're waiting for those at the door. Please come inside so we can start. The seat. Yes. Amongst us this afternoon are a number of visitors. Let me start to recognize those from California. If you're here from California, if you're a local host, if you will stand for us, please. Please put your hands together for that. On behalf of OIUSA, we thank you for hosting us and making sure that our convention 2024 is a success. Thank you. Please have a seat. All those from outside California, I'm guessing you are the ones sitting down. Right? I want to recognize all those who came from outside the US. I do have some names. I may have missed some people. So when I finish, please let me know if I have missed you. In our midst today, and these are people who are visiting from Nigeria. In our midst today, I have Mrs. Stella Weche. Please, if you will stand so we can recognize you. Thank you. You're welcome. We also have Reverend Collins Daniel. Please, if you will stand so we can recognize you. Yeah. We have Dr. Chinedu Wadu. We have Honorable Barrister Wogu Bonds. Yeah. We also have Ugweze. We have Ugweze, Queen Temple Ejeko. Yeah. We have Mrs. Adama Olomo. She's not in the hall. She's also visiting from Nigeria. Maybe when she comes in, we can recognize her also. Is there anybody else I am missing that came from Nigeria? There's only one person that is allowed, and that's our keynote speaker. I will not introduce him, but yes.
I have a friend here coming
from Ireland. Oh, please. Let me recognize you. This is International OIUSA. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Chitro. I'm from Ikwerre's family in Abuna Valley, BBC. From Ireland.
Thank you. OIUSA has gone global. We are now having people from Ireland and Nigeria. So please, let's keep it going. And next year, who knows where we will have visitors from. At this point, I want to hand over the mic to to Mr. Dike Chendo. He will introduce to us our keynote speaker, who is also visiting from Nigeria. So I won't introduce him twice. We would get to meet him. For those who know him, we'll get to know him better as he speaks to us. Let me, at this point, allow Mr. Dike Chendo, if he is ready. I'll hand over the mic to Mr. Dike Chendo to introduce to us our keynote speaker. Right after that, the keynote speaker will give the keynote speech, and I would ask that we please give him our undivided attention. Thank you.
Our keynote speaker today is the person of Professor Prince Chinedu Mon, JP, DSSFR. He's a distinguished academician, an erudite scholar, and an institute administrator. He is a very disciplined personality with a good moral upbringing from Christian home. He is a very hardworking, dedicated to duty, self-motivated, prides himself with integrity. He possesses sound emotional, physical, mental dispositions. His goal in life is to be a focused, world-class academic and administrator, a character builder, a human capital developer. Professor Mon hails from Omawa in the Ikwerre local government area of Rivers State, Nigeria. He was born into a family of Mr. and Mrs. G.O.C. Mon, happily married to Mrs. Ikwerre P.C. Mon, and the marriage has been blessed with 2 boys, Chison and Chibohem, and 2 girls, Chinemere and Chibroma. He is a justice of the peace, appointed by Rivers State government of Nigeria and of a Christian religious sect. Professor Mon is a professor of geography and environmental management, University of Port Harcourt. He's a researcher and a scholar listed among the first 800 scientific researchers in Nigeria by Google Scholar. His Index and Citation 2015 edition, he was the director, Center for Disaster Risk Management and Development Studies at University of Port Harcourt, and a National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, collaborative initiative. Professor Mon is currently the Dean, Faculty of Social Sciences, University of Port Harcourt, 210 Dean. He was a researcher advisor Ogoni Restoration Project, the Share Petroleum Development Company Limited, Port Harcourt, 2014. During his appointment, he developed additional index for measuring successful remediation of contaminated soils using vegetable as bioindicator. He was the acting director of University of Port Harcourt Campus Environmental Beautification and Sanitation Unit from 2009 to 2013. He is an adjunct scholar, Center for Occupational Health, Safety and Environmental, University of Port Harcourt. Adjunct scholar, Institute of Petroleum Studies, University of Port Harcourt, 2006 to date. Visiting professor, Center for Logistics and Transport Studies. Adjunct professor, World Bank of Africa Center for Excellence in Oil, Feed, Chemical, Research and Training. Professionally, Professor Mon is a fellow of Nigerian Environmental Society, former chairman, Rivers State Chapter, member, International Association for Impact Assessment, member, International Association for Environmental Geotechnology, fellow, Occupational Safety Health Association, fellow, Emergency Crisis and Risk Management Institute, member, Association of Nigerian Geographers, member, Association of American Geographers, Nigerian Gas Association, registered environmental manager with the National Registry of Environmental Professionals. He is the 153rd inaugural, he has the 153rd inaugural lecture of the University of Port Harcourt and spoke on the title, Order in Disorder, Rethinking Inside the Box. He is a member, National Technical Working Committee of Development of Medium, 10 and Long-Term National Economic Development Plan and Vision 2020 to date. Professor Mon is a professional assessor and external examiner to many universities in Nigeria. I'm very special to mention and external assessor to the prestigious National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, Ikwerre Geos. Professor has supervised and produced over 120 undergraduates, 52 master's degree, and 18 PhD graduates. Professor Mon is a faculty member of social sciences and permanent member of the Senate of the University of Port Harcourt, Port Harcourt, and former Senate representative in the Governing Council Appeals Committee. He has varied research interests ranging from environmental impact, assessment, urban planning, and environmental resources management, and disaster risk management. He's a member of many project teams and boards, and an environmental consultant to many firms within and outside Nigeria. He is a recipient of the honor of Distinguished Service Star of Rivers State. He was the immediate commissioner for education, Rivers State, 9th July 2022 to 25th May 2024. He is an ambassador for peace and holds an honorary chieftaincy title as Eze Ochi Okpo I of Omawatan. He is an alumni of the Nigerian prestigious National Institute and the 9th president of SLAM, 9th of the National Institute. He is fairly traveled to most parts of the world and enjoys playing football, tennis, and snookers. Please welcome Professor Chinedu Prince Mon.
Andazele. You know how to make cow? Yeah. You know how to make cow? Yeah. How to make cow? Yeah. How to make cow? Yeah. Eleni yamma. Ma. Baka no Ogbakor is bueno. Away. So first of all, I'm very sorry no project as well. I was thinking that no project was here. One or two pictures as Maka no Egusi, but we'll just manage without the projector. Because in PowerPoint, hoping that no there'll be projector. I also declare no conflict of interest. That's what I usually do whenever I make presentations and forums such as this. I will speak in English and at some intervals, let me show you wrong. Man, some of our people here, I'm surprised some of our children are not here. Man, no, some of our people and some of our wives may not be from Ikwerre, so that everybody can be carried along. But as much as possible, I will try to spice it up with our Ikwerre dialects. Anmeka? Yeah. So, the president of Ikwerre, USA and Canada, and your honorable executives, distinguished members of Ikwerre, USA and Canada, here seated, visitors like me, especially the one coming from Ireland, and others from Nigeria, one of my former staff, one of the latest PhD holders. It was a pleasant surprise because I didn't know I would meet her here. She didn't also know she would meet me here. We just ran into each other. In fact, it was like she saw a ghost, you know. So, thank you very much. My presentation is titled Ikwerre Legacy Center, Building and Sustaining Ihuroha Communities in North America. That is my presentation. And Unfortunately, there's no madam. I'm giving 1 hour, but I will take 2 hours. Yeah, you know, you invited a professor to come and speak. What do you expect? I'll give a normal lecture. I'll look for a businessman to come and address you. But I will give you this. So be ready. Whenever I'm tired, I'll drop the microphone. Well, just just a little background. I'm talking about uniqueness of our culture. Briefly, history about Ikwerre people, Ikwerre, Ogbakor. Then I'll talk about building and sustaining legacies of Ikwerre in North America, the Ikwerre Legacy Hall, the challenges we may be facing, way forward and conclusions. Unfortunately, that the visuals will not be here. But as a matter of introduction, I'm going to say that when we are part of a thriving community, we feel a sense of kinship, camaraderie, and of course, connectedness, which is what I'm seeing here since I came in this morning. There is a place and a role for each person and a group of members that feel they can bring all of ourselves together in a session like Ogbakor, USA, and Canada. I said there is a high level of trust and psychological safety in which people know that others have their backs. Whether you like it or not, one of the kind of satisfaction that when there's the part, whatever happens, somebody that can easily come to my rescue. That's it. And we give them not only the benefits of the doubt, but of the space to apply their talents and develop new ones. So within a community, a strong community like ours, people feel valued, and all work has dignity. And in addition, the need of each member and the needs of the whole organization is fully met in that regard. And like Plato, as many people call him, one of the famous philosophers would always say that the parts cannot be well unless the whole is well. That is why, if anything affects this eye, it also does affect that one. And before you know, the nose and also the throat. So when something is wrong with one part, of course, it affects the other part. So we cannot claim to be cool, when others are suffering from one challenge or the other. And that ends up building a community like you guys are doing over here. As a providing spaces where close-knit communities can thrive, satisfies important social professional need, whether we like it or not. Well, socially and of course professionally, there is need for us to do build a kind of community relationship, which is what I'm seeing since I came here. And of course, people often realize the value of growth and of course support when going through challenges and of course changes like the ones we experienced during the COVID-19 some few years back. So our sessions such as USA and Canada can show empathy and awareness in such difficult times by creating virtual space where private communities can connect and share. That is the brief or the long introduction I have to what I'm going to talk about here today. I'll spend 5 minutes, so I still have about 185 minutes. Uniqueness, which we have presented is uniqueness of Ikwerre or the Ikwerre culture. Ikwerre, being the Ikwerre people, as we call ourselves today, we are not Igbos. I highlighted it here. I didn't know, I wish we had projector to project what I'm talking about here. You can see the passion I have about what I'm saying. There is nothing bad in the Igbos, the Yorubas, the Hausas, the Ifiks, and Igbo. Nothing. But I say that we are a distinct ethnicity or nationality in this country, and we have our unique cultures. Yes. I delivered my lecture in University of Port Harcourt, titled Order in the Story I read a few minutes ago. This is my secret. I'm very proud. So for record purposes, in as much as I'm not here to discuss the history of Ikwerre people, let me categorically state here that historical records have it that majority of the Ikwerre settlements have their roots traceable from or to the old Benin what? Empire. And that's why we say that what? Ignorant people, we did what? Descended from what? Ancient Benin Kingdom. And the name of our grand ancestor is Akalaka. Man, most of you know this history. But some learning where the history that can't make here, but just a little of it, you can go and read more. Omega. Our relations in River State are the Ebeyes and the Obas. Cabo, our blood relations, Ikwerre on the River State as a whole. There may be one or two persons or community that would have had their lineage traceable. I'm not saying there are none, may, but that's why I use the word majority of our people descended from the old Benin Kingdom. Now, Akalaka, a member of the Benin royal family, note that I said our our ancestor, if I may use that word, say fled in the 13th century on the allegation that he was trying to plot against the then, Oba Ikwerre in the then Benin Kingdom. And he settled the east of the Sombrero River in 1538 AD, by Amadi 2005. The name in Roha in Ikwerre parlance means the face of a community, the face of the town, or the face of the city, or the face of the village. Please, if anybody is sleeping, just give him a knock and my permission. The Nigerian colonial history records the name Ikwerre was given by the colonial administration when they wanted to acquire the Rebisi waterfront to build the water, wharf. I'm sure most of you know this history, but just to remind us. So using the Igbo interpreter, the white man would always ask the Rebisi people, would you permit us to use their waterfront to build a wharf for ships to bathe? And our people responded, I could. So, which means we have what? Agreed. Just like many other communities in River State and beyond, where the white man could not actually call the names the way they adopted whatever was presented to them. Just like what happened the year of oil was first struck in Oloibiri in Bayelsa, present Bayelsa State. I have to trace Oloibiri, and when I got to the first oil well, the first oil well was over 7 kilometers from Oloibiri. But Oloibiri was where they camped when they were doing all the things they were doing, especially they were doing. So just name that oil field Oloibiri. Meanwhile, if they can drive for over 30 minutes from the wellhead to Oloibiri community. That was what the colonial masters did. So since then, since they could not get what we were talking about, Ikwerre, that's how they nickname us. Since then to today, an official gazette in River State and Nigeria as a whole, Ikwerre became adopted as a replacement for our name instead of the Igbo. America? Yeah. You may be asking, why the selection of names with the Igbos? Chede, Chinedu, Chizam, and what have you. My explanation to this is that it's what sociologists will call cultural diffusion. The sociologists have a theory that says that when two cultures meet, a supposed superior culture swallows up the inferior culture. And also because of intermarriages, because we are sharing boundaries with them, we marry their daughters. Their men marry our own daughters. You see names begin to come in. The ones you so much fancy. For instance, there is a woman in Buguma that loved me so very much and adopted me as her son.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's So when I get back to my first son, she named him Ibiso. And kept calling him that Ibiso, Ibiso, Ibiso. That my son took that name, so loved that name Ibiso. But I had to question, Chisom, So I started forcing to answer Chisom. So if I never intervene, before you know it now, Ibiso, every parents will call him Ibiso, and he adopts that name. Ibiso. That's what happens why we have this kind of situation in Ikwerre. But that should not make us forget the fact that no have a distinct ethnic or nationality. What are some of the things that make us very unique? Our greetings. I may remind us of some of the things we don't know very much or we have forgotten. America, some people can dearly. Ewela, Owe, Eleri Yama, Oyoyo, Saleri Osagrio. In Ikwerre culture, traditional Ikwerre culture, women don't come to greet Anumeka. I can come, Elengum Anumo. So take note of that. Yes. It's a taboo for Elenia where no can halal this. Elengum Ameka, I can Anumo. That's it. Ameka. I want a unique marriage rights, and also in stages. One bu Jose Mahioro, which like going to find out or going to knock on the door. Okay, let's go and do what? Find out. Under that has a limit. Cabo, one of the first stages in our marriage. Rice, wakanoro, or lema canoro, just that. The next one, bo or dokomokuko oil. Man, no, I make oil, oh yeah? So, how one of the stages is to disengage in case, Emano, get baka go rugan, bona the guru abi, Beishun Wekano, the mean the watala. Kind of a form of what? Engagement. But unfortunately, our society is changing. The child may grow up, say, who? Like one, there's one my grandmother used to call my wife. In fact, I nearly burnt myself one day. If I said, that cannot be my wife, you know. Because when they gave birth to me, we are born at the same time. So he started calling the girl my wife. When I got there, how can that girl be my wife? This ugly thing. It cannot be. So that is what happened. So that kind of a thing, maybe that's not, I don't know, my water, but Wakola, maybe they did. But look at my or come one of the, you know. And after which can go, and the traditional system continues in that order. And usually in Ikwerre land, I make a traditional in the night. 2 reasons for that. One, bono, since Eli were farmers. Sai Ezeko and Reku, Ayala Nayas, they made a marriage. And something like Ishobo, maybe midnight. So, why is it so? Because I said, Bobule, la Obama Yapa, to come back. All through bush pass. So I asked for my hair to come back. So now, as a sign of goodwill, they usually give the groom's family with raffia packed smoked fish, wrapper, Iji, Nasa, to go to your house. No one person goes to marry alone without the company of his kinsmen, even till today. Come our culture. If not, that marriage will never be what? Honored and recognized. And in some communities in Ikwerre, the woman Yaloro, the next one, she will Suku Rumu Wednesday, and thereafter they shouldn't want they are registered no car according to seniority. So make the first person of that thing will take share before the other persons, as the case may be. We also have other funeral rights. And one thing, Maka, let me highlight here on our funeral rights. Now, our funeral rights, is very, very important and indispensable. You don't play with them. You can play with your kinsman in your Nohano, but where your mother comes from, have a lot. That's why those days, if you are doing something, don't worry. Basna Makia, I start this for you. The day I'm working on, But we had the list office. The street today not coming. I'm making. I want to call it our own unique dress pattern. I want our 80-bone haka. Most of us are wearing here. George, Yipi, Wako, Don, Yipi. The killer. I know most of you appear. That's why let me appear like this today. Our food and occupation. Ikwerre people were traditional what? Crop what? Farmers and hunters. But a few people like Mini, may I call it small and fishing, but traditionally, Kamba were this thing. Festivals, Eglegi. I was trying to play, but it's not here. I want Eglegi, one of our major cultural display. Obone, many communities, Oduma, and just name them. In terms of governance, Yenwele or Yenwele, but the owner of the ruler of the community, Raman ruler, and Elegio of Eloha, as the case may be. Then a lazy, a chief, as the case may be. Our food, our own unique food. Somebody can own money, occasions, burial, and marriages. A condition of mini Urio Kazi, and plenty of smoked fish and meat, etc. Shan Otogram, Mobeka Otaiji, and Pandemium. But I have got most part of the great Udundu, man. I'm make out one for the Canadian Nigeria and something very in the house. Go do the last day go kaka go to college. That is it. In many communities in Ikwerre land and even female dogs are taboos. Yes, they will in many. Sorry, about that pictures of some of our cultural masquerades, present as the case may be. Now, Ikwerre origin. How did this Ikwerre, which are celebrated for Canada or US and Canada, here came to existence? How did it come to existence? And I said the enthusiasm of Ikwerre started in the 1950s, when ethnic awareness began to crystallize into socio-cultural organizations. For instance, in the north, we have the Arewa of the north, Omoduduwa of the west, Ohaneze of the what? Of the east. For us as a distinct people, Ikwerre Union was formed, led by Chief Jackson MP, and the National Assembly led by Chief John Nsirim. Finally, several other efforts led to the unified Ikwerre State Assembly with Chief Jackson MP as president, Chief John Nsirim as the vice president, Chief I.S. Onwuchekwa as secretary. I will say this continued until 1963, when a well-attended meeting held on 7 July 1963 informally made Chief E.J.A. Oriji, the then chairman of Ikwerre County Council, to be the chair, and meetings of Ikwerre began to hold. And of course, it was at that meeting that Ikwerre was adopted as the name of the new organization, like other ethnic nationalities were trying to crystallize into groups. Then in December 23rd, 1963, a very well-attended first convention was held in Port Harcourt Municipal Council Hall, chaired by E.J.A. Oriji, where new officers of the convention were elected as follows: Barrister Obidike one of the President General, Chief E.J.A. Oriji, first Vice President, President John A. Nsirim, second Vice President, Mr. C. Okpara, Secretary General, Mr. Sunday Paul, first Assistant Secretary, Mr. Adewosu, second Assistant General Secretary, Mr. John Ogwachukwu, Treasurer, Mr. E.A.D. Aleko, Public Secretary. This actually is the starting point of what today registered as International Organization of Ikwerre Cultural Organization worldwide. And we have several past presidents of the Ikwerre as Barrister Obidike Nodi, Dr. Obi Wale, of blessed memory, Barrister Richard Walker, blessed memory, Chief S.A.J. Wachuku Orosi, of blessed memory, Orabula Dele, Chief S.I. Alete, Chief S.O.L. Amadena, Chief Gideon Omoldo, Katolicha Amadi, late Professor Otontin Doka, Emeritus, Chief Samson Agbaro, Professor Augustine Onyozo, Emeritus Professor Simeon Achinehu, the 14th, Professor Emenike Wami, and the current one is the Barrister Ogbakor Onwekwa, is from Achinehu 2024. Now, building and sustaining legacies of Ikwerre in North America, and I said how. Our forefathers have laid and handed over the legacies to us, and the onus is on us to do what? To sustain them. Our grandfathers, I have just mentioned those of them who have passed on. Wherever they are now, I'm sure they'll be happy that the little beginning, the little start, little seed they have sown has grown to become a big tree with several branches, as we are saying today. Put hands together for yourselves. Therefore, the onus, the responsibility is on us to sustain the legacies that our forefathers have laid for us. It will be bad for any reason for us to allow this flame to burn down. We must therefore have to focus on the positives and ensure shared values, the things that bind us together, our cultural heritage that Abele in Wuhan. We can't run away from it. You can live all your life in the United States or the Europe, UK, and the rest of them, but they can't deny the fact that what in Wuhan. We must care for our members, unity bonding, getting involved in issues that affect others. In the student on those, they say injury to one is what? Injury to all, as the case may be. That's the fact of it. We must see ourselves as one, that whatever affects the nose also does what? Affects the eyes, and vice versa, as the case may be. Play to strengths and look for the bright spots, leaving no one what? Behind. All fingers are not what? Equal. God knows why he made it to be so. And that is why we need to do what? Complement what? One what? Another. One definition of insurance I got about in class 1, those very plenty of years back, I can't remember when, It said, insurance is a pool of risk, whereby the fortunate help the what? Unfortunate. Till today, I've not even gone back to look at that definition, but it's still in my head. So, those of us who may be very privileged, help those who are below you. Because no one should be left what? Behind. That's the spirit of this oneness that we're building in this Ogbakor as it is. We should set our targets and expectations. Look out for the what? Low-hanging fruits. The one we can either do what? Acquire and do what? Achieve. As of what? Making progress forward. I have 1 hour left. We should also embark on membership drive. I am very, very sure I can bet with my last month's salary that the people seated here today are less than half of Ikwerre people, even in California. You're right. That's it. So where are they? That's why I said what? We should try and do what? Talk to our friends. Some people, what am I going to do with them? What those people? No, I don't have nothing, But surely we need what? Each other. Very, very important. We need to do advocacy visits. And we said, bros, I no call you for what great convention. What's happened now? What will be a problem now? Why is they like to come up now? What's in now? In case of, these are things we should be doing. In your next year's convention, by God's grace, I'll also be here.
Amen.
I want to see any hall we are going to use to be fluent at what I'm saying here today. If you do that, achieve that, it means that what I'm saying here today has made or is making impact in you. Because I'm very sure. Some say, I didn't get information, nobody reminded me or whatever. It happens to organizations. I belong to the country grammar school old boys who have been struggling trying to, boy, how can I leave that in? I beg, what am I going to gain? And all those, people are big boys and I don't make money now. No, these are things that happen. But try to do what? Squash that. Let's bring ourselves together. Through coming together, you never can tell. Where your help will do what? Come from. When you bottle the problem, you die with the problem. But when you come, I shout, what is happening? What am I into? I'm into vehicle hiring. Oh, I'm into this. Oh, really? I've been looking for this. And that's how we network and make ourselves better. And that is what I expect of Ikwerre, US and Canada. We need to sustain annual and quarterly assemblies and conventions. I'm very happy that this has been the case. Last year, I missed last year. And I'm happy even other regional ones are holding, like the IPA in Houston. I'm happy yesterday when I came yesterday, though, jet lag and some fatigue allowed me to attend the I plan to be there. I got the invite, but you just have to forgive me. I'll send my little token to you after now. But I just felt bad that I need to attend the program. So we can establish cooperative societies to raise funds and create employment. I have a group in the university. It's a kind of show groups. Look, most times, let's take ourselves out. That the pressure of working in the university is so much that lecturers marking script, they die most times. We say no. Every quarter, we'll take ourselves and look for one city in the country, it's well within the south. Go spend the weekend and unwind, as the case may be. We have done it for about 5 years. Last year, we said, look, let us be catching fun, go and catch cruise club, drink, and all whatnot. Let's add some flavor. We opened a cooperative society. I won't tell you the amount we have generated so that I don't think I have money. Most of us subscribe today. I'm telling you that even those lecturers who are struggling to pay their children's school fees, the dividends from what we're making from that cooperative. In fact, 2 of our colleagues' wives and children are working in the cooperative business that is formed by the cooperative. So you can imagine if Ogbakor, USA and Canada forms a cooperative, raise some money, and go to a business. One, it will create employment. Because just like Indians do, when they go to, even here in Canada, almost every business, the Indians, they don't employ no other outsiders. Yes. Or, I don't know how it happens here, but I'm talking about Canada and the rest of them. All the staff there are from what? From India, except anyone that requires expertise, they don't have. And in fact, they have ventured into almost every sphere of life. So what kind of cooperative? One, employment generated. And of course, whenever employment generated, income is also what? Generated. And of course, there will be saving, which can also get back into a vicious cycle of income generation. Some of our persons here who don't have anything, who are retired, or who may have lost their jobs, they can be supported through that means. And of course, whatever target we set, at the end of the year, when we declare our dividends, our profit as the case may be, you guys have get some money that can be to finance the Ogbakor Hall, which is our target for this year's convention. Amika? The Ogbakor Legacy Project, significance of Ogbakor in Obiri or Ogbakor overseas. Some of you have not come to Nigeria for the past 10 years, am I correct? Yes. Some even 20 years. You have lost such realities at home. Please, try and come. We are safe, we are not dying. Sometimes you do what? Come and visit us and know how we are what? Doing. I'm not saying you should locate back to Nigeria except you so desire. But once in a while, try and do what? Visit one of my friends is smiling because over 30 years has not come home. So try and come home. Now, I wish that, no flight to show we have our traditional Obri. What happens in Obri? Who tells you that you cannot have a hall in the United States of America, in any of the states as Obri or Ogbakor? You can achieve that. And there is a significance of that. Elisuma, well, no high, who go like this, community what hall. But even near my facility, but one other one, there as the case, may be. If they can do it here in North America, I'm sure with our commitment, we can have a Ogbakor legacy building here in North America, any of the states at all. Put hands together for yourself. Therefore, I'm telling us, as part of the fallout of this year's convention, let's have the vision. Let's work towards acquiring a property here. It can be like our national or international secretariat, or whatever you may call it, as what Ogbakor. And of course, it gives a sense of pride. If I come here as, wow, Leo Ogbakor, hall, North America, either US or Canada, that would be a great achievement, and God will bless you for doing that. Achieving these legacies, or this Ogbakor legacy hall, or even putting yourself together, has some challenges. Some already facing, and some you will face. The distance separating us. Is it not so? Some of you are coming from Louisiana. Some of you are coming from Alaska. Some of you are coming from Toronto, from Winnipeg, you just name it. I know the flights cost from there to here can offset some personal bills at home. So even when you may have intent of attending a convention or meeting, that could be an impediment. But I want to tell you that the world is meshing into a global village that we all know. Distance is not a barrier any longer. Am I making sense? Yes. You can stay away your money. One of my pastors would say that, let me tell you, when we were doing our church project, say some of you come out, say we're working tomorrow morning. Before 7 a.m. you have come with your shovels, your headphones and whatever, carrying all the wage work. Whereas some of you will just come, Pastor, how much is the thing? You write your check. Both the man who wrote the check and the man who carried the wheelbarrow and rake, they are all doing what? The same thing, contributing towards building that. So what I say, the distance may appear, to be a barrier. But no, in my study, even in my lecture, during my own lecture, I talked about it, that physical distance cannot be a barrier. What may be a barrier is what we call social distance. And what is that social distance? I want to domesticate it, just bring it down to what we're talking about. If you value the unity of Ikwerre people in North America, you won't care about the distance I'm talking about. There is something that is attracting you. You may live in California. In fact, you may live within within this zone, and you may never attend any program that is hosted there. Am I correct? Right. Despite the closeness. Meanwhile, somebody far off will be doing coming. That's why physical distance is not a barrier. It's the social distance. The relationship which you have between you and that. Let me make one form. Forgive me, I'm always a fun lecturer. I had a girlfriend that was living in Borokri some years back. I come back and talk about my CV now. Now, do you know that once I met that girl, Borokri used to be very, very far. How do I navigate all the traffic to Borokri? But since I started dating her, Borokri far? Hello? Physically, the distance is very far apart. But socially, I don't go. I don't far now. I just about to come back. It's a normal thing. So let's not look at physical distance as a challenge. What will only be a challenge is the social distance, which I am sure we can do break what we are doing. We have something that is tying you down. So that I'm very proud of Ikwerre man. Wherever you hear the program is holding, you make every effort to do attend. If for any reason you can't attend, your money too can do can solve it. Am I making sense? Yes. Most of us may also be very busy. We are working around the clock, paying a lot of bills here because no free lunch even in free town. I know you guys are very busy. Yes. We enjoy a lot in Nigeria. You can go and be visit a friend, gisting and they'll bring lunch. You'll be gisting, But also here. So all of you may very busy schedules, most of you have. But, like I said, it's a matter of your commitment you have to a particular cause. Naturally of some members. Many of you don't see it as a product. What are they doing there? You could have made them come out there. I beg, wait till I'll come bring to the table. I made them leave. Anytime I get a chance, I'll go. They call no money. It's natural in every human being, any given social setting. But we can break that. It's going to be maybe a challenge, but we can do we can really change. The other innate human tendencies, which is part of this. When I come go there, they can't do the candles, especially among women. And here today, I'll check and come hazard. See when they look if I can't go there now, they can't look me. I say my own was fast. I beg. I don't say how money no day. Make it be within my household. Make the no conquer and mock me. So also have diversity in terms of social background, educational background, experiences, and whatnot. These may likely pose challenges to achieving these legacies. But what is the way forward? As I need to build strong and effective leadership. Leadership with integrity. One of the things that destroys an organization is lack of leadership with integrity. Last 3 weeks I attended a course at the National Institute, one of the prestigious institutes in Nigeria. National for Policy and Studies on Leadership. policy plan I'm making. And that was very much talked about. What do you do when nobody is there doing what? Watching you. It's integrity. What do you do if nobody is here watching you and a bundle of dollar falls here? What will you do? So that is a very bad. No, leadership with accountability. And leader that has what applies what emotional what intelligence. President, forgive me, you give Professor Matimo to talk. Now, talking about emotional intelligence, I'm going to give a little story and see how it works. An army general was driving from Jos to Abuja. While he was driving down, one rough driver, Fiam, almost pushed him out of the road and started pointing him, warning him. The man was mad. He said, what? Who is this guy? The man said, chase him after him. Say, run after him. Say, this guy today, I will surely deal with him. So he was driving to meet him up. After a while, something like, what if, as you are driving now, this motor gets involved what? In an accident? What will you tell yourself? You want to go and chase the man because okay, the man did what? Did the waka? What does he mean? He almost whacked you off the what road and still had the go to do you waka. So you have every look. You know, you can imagine how I can just put yourself in. You know what's going to happen. So the man stops. After a while, just look and say, let the food go. Now, he said, not quite 10 minutes or 15 minutes. That same vehicle, that man that sped passing almost without the road and then walk, he saw the vehicle passed by the road. Said, hey, today, I think I will knock her here now. So he came down from there. Someone told him, said, look, calm down. He came to his head. Young man, what is the problem? The man has got a flat tire. No spare tire, no jack. So look at him. Don't go mature now, Abby. Look at him. Say, Lord. He tried to control his own emotion, not allow that influence in with that person. Despite what he has done. So, okay, now, what do you need? The man said, if I can get this spare tire, I'll bring it back tomorrow. I had the brand new car. So he gave him the spare tire and gave it just said, when you come back, bring it to me. You know, he gave it to him and because was at the person appointment and went. Lo and behold, 2 weeks later, it took 2 weeks for the man to return the spare tire, of course. And when he came back, lo and behold, the young man chose himself as what? A medical doctor. Wow. And since then to today, he became his private what? Physician. Wow. So, if he didn't control his emotions and run after him, this guy possibly walked him out of into the bush, he would have died. Or even as he met him there, today he would have been his best of what? Friends and his what? Personal doctor. That is applying what? Emotional intelligence. As a leader, it surely will happen. People will provoke you. Even from quarters you don't even expect. People will you expect to reason, above their snot. You need to do what? Apply what? Emotional intelligence. So that they can always bring the people you are leading what? Together and achieve the what? Set targets. Now, avoid being in competition, especially for the women. Yes, the privilege can make some what? Sacrifices. Avoid leadership struggles. So one man said, what are you even struggling for? Leadership struggles. I want to be the next president. Yes, it's good to have an ambition. I learned something from one of my professors. He said, look, he checked where he began, where he belonged to. He said, whenever there is emotion and he say, let's divide the house, he has that problem. Once you say, let's divide the house, you already set what? Division. This one now will form their own caucus. Those who are in support of the motion. This one will set their own caucus. Those who are against the what? That motion. That please never divide the what? House. So let people, what do people think? Let's say, But sometimes it's easier said than what? Than done. Avoid segregation. The leadership must always do what we call SWOT analysis. And I'm sure you know what I wish that was enough. We have what? Strengths. weaknesses, opportunities, and what? Threats. That's what we call SWOT. That's the acronym for that. Strengths, opportunities, weaknesses, opportunities, and what? Threats. So, what are our what? Our strengths. Our strength could be have both internal strength and external strength, of course. Our strength could be what? Our membership what? Number. That could be our strength. What are our weaknesses? Everybody they were busy. Busy. What are opportunities? Look, if you put what are we to have? If you put ourselves together and raise resources and do this, we can do what? Achieve this. What then would be what? Our threats to achieving this, despite this opportunity we have? That's the threat. What can threaten us from achieving this? Then put that in the table. It's okay. If this is a threat, how can we overcome such threats to be able to what? Achieve our set what target? That's what the ways we can achieve what? This Ogbakor legacy in North America. And of course, that will help us to do what? Build back what? Better and focusing on our own what? Strengths. The president has been giving me a sign I should stop. That's why I want to stop. If not, I didn't want to stop. So I'm trying to conclude by saying that the contributions of different members accrue social capital, an intangible but valuable asset that can help the association become transformational social force and boost our capacity for what? A change. To live from where we are to where we target to do what? To be. Trust is an essential aspect of the human connection. And that's why once trust is what? Gone, then everything is lost. Very importantly. So leadership must ensure what? You build and sustain the what? Trust. One trust is gone. They say, okay, let me tell you one story. I want to tell stories. It won't take long. One boy came to the University of Port Harcourt and said, look, let's form the what? Rotary Uniport, chapter or charter. He became the chapter president. Oh, everybody, we want to make it great. So this one, we contributed all the money. Lo and behold, when we came that day, empty. Emeka, where is the money? Emeka could not give account. That was the end of some of us. We pulled out of Rotary Club we were charter members of Rotary Uniport. We left because of that. We have lost. And when he came like, no, let's do some, let's community project. We say, Emeka, hold on there. You want to chop, they what? Enough. You can fool some of the time, not all the time. So trust. Communities can be places for growth and therefore meet a key need irrespective of the membership life cycle. Also, I saw something that both the first timers, some of you this is their first time coming to convention. Some of you for a very long time, over 5-10 years. This is their first time, and some of them even have come at all. So first timers and long time members can contribute something valuable if given space to discover their unique roles, their connectors, creators, enablers, collaborators, or what? Sharers, as the case may be. Giving everybody to what? Showcase what he or she. Until you give somebody opportunity, you don't know the potentials in him or her. Am I making sense? Yes. Let's not be the regular people. There are many persons here because they may be too shy to say, I want to go for this particular position. But just give them the ability to say, take charge of it. It will amaze you the results you will get out of that assignment that will such a person. That we can explore in building Ogbakor legacy here in North America. I said, giving members a space to build community in an effective strategy that promotes community building from the bottom to the what? To the top. Focusing on relationships help give members a meaningful experience so that the membership is seen as more than just an annual expense like we have come here today. Ladies and gentlemen, Ikwerre communities in different states of North America can also nurture a sense of belonging, which is at the heart of strong communities, and drive organic growth by bringing like-minded groups of people together. Anmeka? Yeah. Together one can build, together we can do what? Build Ogbakor legacy here in North America. I know we can. If we want, we can. Am I correct? Yes. What I keep saying, anything is possible. Keep thinking, and requires commitment of all. These are photos. You're not seeing, I'm only one seeing the photo and portrait the president here. So we have there, keep thinking, there's a commitment for all. I will say, how many persons are you saying there? Only president and a few of us are saying to that one. So we're saying here that what goes around comes around. And if you are still awake, gracias. You don't have her. I'm Mikhail.
Thank you so much. Please, you can sit. You can keep clapping as you sit. That's a professor doing what he knows to do. I think he did justice to the topic. On behalf of the House, thank you, sir. I don't know. At this time, we'll give room for questions, comments. I see hands already. So we'll take those hands. I will come to you, Prof. Please, we'll ask you to take note of the question.
And I treat it as an inaugural lecture where no question is important. I want to share a perspective, please, a few minutes, because it has bothered me over time. At the Baton Rouge convention, which I was honored to attend, the issue came tangentially. At the lecture that Kislo Gundo, Honorable, delivered via the sky, he also went that line that I think we should address. I do not think that the mere fact that people of the same ethnic nationality call an item of different name doesn't make them different people. I do not see diversity or differences, either in small dialectical issues, to mean that we're no longer one. Let me go to the point, please. When we formed Ikwerre lawyers, we called it Ogbo. I don't know whether you heard of Ogbo. Ogbo is the association of Ikwerre lawyers in the state. That was when I knew for the first time from my poor people their practice. We in Rebisi, but you can't take that point. You tell the person presiding to clear hall for you. So whereas in Rebisi where I come from, I stand up and say, I go ahead. In Akbo, you can't do that. The presiding person will be told to clear the hall for him. So this difference does not mean that we are not Ikwerre people or have different culture. Let me say another one. When Eloka Tasse was married many years back, I got there and they finished eating. They said, no, once the marriage, before they start, first of all is to eat. In our home, we eat last. Is that not so? Yes. Now, let me just give also this small point to say that it is not the practice in my part of Ikwerre that a woman cannot say, I'm a cow. No, in our own Ikwerre, in Rebisi, a woman can listen to agree. I'm a cow. It's not an offense. I think we should make room for these small differences and not to say that one is the authentic Ikwerre culture. No, people must be allowed variation. When we plead custom in court, we plead custom as a fact, and you have to prove it as a fact because it's not law as such in English legal system. So when you say, according to Ikwerre native law and custom, as applicable in the way you're talking about, because there may be small variations. I've read Bill Bryson, A History of the English Language. I was impressed to learn from him that even in England, the way you speak, they say you're living on the last street. Not even in town now, this man lives on the last street by his accent. So I celebrate diversity in nature, and it is one of the reasons I praise Jehovah God for the immense diversity he pumped into creation, which creates balance, enjoyment, and fertility. I'm a cow.
Thank you, sir. That is a legal window.
Prof, if you will hear me, my name is Collins Asanye. I will not make any comment, but I just have a clarifying question. You did mention that we are known originally by the name Ikwerre. But when they began to form the Ogbakor in 1953 or 63, you said, they chose Ikwerre. I was wondering why they didn't choose Ikwerre. I think that's very important to know. Since Ikwerre came from an Igbo man interpreting to the white man, and the white man somewhere how come our own people, when they are forming an organization as important as that, choose Ikwerre instead of Ogbakor Ikwerre?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions? We want to take them so that he can respond, because Prof can hold this mic. So before I release it to him.
Prof, thank you. Ogbakor from Okinawa. Just one clarification. You said that Igbos, when it came to the Green Land, there was diffusion. And you said the superior culture swallowed the inferior culture. I don't think there's any superior culture. I think there's different cultures. So can you clarify why you say superior culture swallows inferior culture? You're implying that the culture was superior to them. So how did they find superior? Is it by population or by education? So I think it's linguistic, not just right? Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Prof, thank you for your presentation and how you started and pointed out our original basin, and there will be some diversity from the core. One question I want to ask you is, in case if you don't know, please, maybe you may need to research. Why is it that female dog is a taboo in the Quran? I really want to know that because I was asked that. My son asked me that. So I didn't have an answer. I want to know. And actually, when I had a dog, when I was growing up, it was a male dog. But I don't know why it was a male dog. But it has to, female dog has to give birth to the male dog somehow. But in case you didn't get me, my name is Reverend Dr. Chitro Wapara from Obiakon, local government.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions before I allow Prof to respond? Okay, let me come to, I'll make my way to you. So.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. I'm Daisy. Question Metro Jikwa here, but Metro Maro Owagidi Meru originates from, and nearly the founder of Ikwerre land.
Okay.
I think we still have. Okay.
Myself, walk with bombs and GDAs, spent almost 2 hours last night arguing about it. And talking about integrity. And here you come today talking about integrity. And the other thing we spent almost 2 hours arguing about last night was about network. And here you are today talking about network, and we discussed that last night. So thank you for reinforcing what we're talking about this. Our people, 2 things, network, integrity. If we build on it, we will never be poor. And I'm glad that you said that, because that is what any successful society, because the shake of hand is a deal for life. And now, you shake a hand with somebody before they come on your back, they try to do it. And
you, sir. Someone wants to add to a question that's already on the ground. So please, your name and the question.
My name is Reverend Collins Daniel. I want to talk about the diffusion that was asked. And in response to that, I want to say that you remember that when Greece invaded the Jews, at that time when they began to rule them, the Jews, the Grecian language became the acceptable language. And it began to influence the Jews, that Jews began to speak Greek. It didn't make them Grecian, okay? But they were influenced. When you talk about the power, superior culture in code, that was how it came about. And for me, I want to think that that's what also affected the Igbos and the Ikwerreans.
Thank you. I have room for one. Yes, sir. And then, okay, so two questions. Two questions, and then I'll take comments. While we're doing that, I have an announcement. When we came in, the card reader was not working, so some people were unable to make their dues payments. I want to announce that the card reader is working, and those who have not made payments, who are waiting, can now make their payments. Also, I want to emphasize these cards. You see how nicely they were done. We will take them back so that we can keep them for the next convention, please. So that way we don't have to spend money next year in producing this. They cost a little penny. And so we are saving costs. The idea is that we'll keep it, and then next year.
What if our title changes?
If your title changes, we can make another one for you, sir. The question here.
Professor Mekao, I think when it comes to this language, Ikwerre language, Igbo language, everybody is speaking Igbo. And if you look at, if you're following social media today, you will see that Igbo is claiming everything that has a skirt and a pant in his body. Igbo man is claiming him or her. But if you go to Wikipedia will tell you that the language you call Igbo language does not exist anywhere. You cannot find it anywhere. Rather, the language we speak, that is why all of us is like speaking one language. And because the Igbos are majority and they claim that we speak in Igbo. No, we don't speak Igbo. Igbo don't have language. The language we speak is Ka language. Go to Wikipedia, you will see it. It's spelled K-A-K-W-A. Ka language. And I've read where Igbo is commenting on this, that they want to take their identity, which is their language. You know, so when if you guys start doing your own research, Igbo or anybody will not claim you. We do not speak Igbo language. Igbo don't have language. The language we speak is Ka language. Go to Wikipedia, you will see it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Noted. Yeah. So we would, there's a question and a comment.
Thank you. Professor Mekao. Oh. Okay, greetings. My question was, when you were presenting, you were encouraging us to be cooperative, to be supportive of each other. But I always wonder, Ogbakor is a branch of from home. So I wonder here, we stay here, we have all kinds of issues at home. Mobo, our former governor being threatened by the same Igbo group. Mobo, Niger Delta issue, things being debated. The job people getting involved, and every other person in the Delta region getting involved. But Ogbakor worldwide. So can you put the reason why, as a parent organization, I as a power, now try to keep ourselves together along with our children but our parent organization is lacking. So can you put the reason why they cannot pull themselves together and provide that leadership I need in the Igbo group? Thank you.
Thank you. And I have one comment here, and Prof will respond.
I'm Metal. I'm Mary MP. Yeah, I can say that my coming here today made a lot of sense to me after the professor spoke, because 2 weeks ago, I got into argument with an Igbo colleague. So they went further to say, why I Naza Chinedu? You know, like you said about cultural diffusion. And that is why I pick my, my points from now, because I can confidently, you know, argue with them that I'm not Igbo. Let's say you're not an Igbo. What about my name? What about all of you answer Chinedu? Because my name Mama Chinedu, so I couldn't even defend that because I stand like an Igbo. You know. So another one, the coup about market days, okay, Irie and all the rest. Manda Ojirime, Ijirime, that will originate from Ikwerre. So from what you have said, I really understand that diffusion made a lot of lesson to me now and sense. So thank you for explaining that, so I can stand fully and argue my point to them.
Thank you. As Prof is going up to respond, at the end of this, we will take an appreciation of our keynote speaker from Princess Nek Obiwai. Prof.
What I would have done. A professor colleague of mine, a senior colleague of mine anyway, was vying for the position of the vice chancellor of my university at about 10 years back, or 9 years back. Incidentally, this same professor was a member of the governing council of the university. So when it was time to interview those candidates for the post of the vice chancellor, he got to his turn and asked him, all right, please introduce yourself to the panel. He looked at them, what do you mean now? I'm one of you now. You should know me now. I'm one of you. You should know what. They say, Prof, please, this is an interview. Please introduce yourself to say, stop that. What do you mean? Who is the professor among you here? So why will a non-professor interview a professor? So whatever I say, will you tap me or not? Maybe I didn't get my listen. I could actually say, well, whatever I say, I'm a professor. Whatever I say is correct. So whatever I say. But I will just group here and pick a few things to talk about. I thank erudite Mr. Wog Bombs, who have talked about the issues regarding to one of the first questions that have to do with slight, we can say, dialectic variations. Whether we like that, even in English, if you go to England, those from Reading, I'm sure, if they speak, you will see their own English different from the others. So these ones are allowed, you know, in every given cultural, you know, setting. It's a normal thing. Like we said, that's why, you know, he has quite a look, say, especially in this part of Ikwerre, especially in this part of the Ikwerre, because whether you like it or not, I started by saying that majority of Ikwerre people migrated from where? The ancient what? Benin Kingdom. I also said that there are pockets of others that came from the Ohaji and Ebema, as the case what may be. I remember I played a safe one by saying here that my business here is not to talk about origin of what? Ikwerre, but I'll just speak a few things because that will take 2 lectures to be able to talk about the origin and better history about Ikwerre. I only picked a few things as a background, you know, to that. Now, having addressed that, I said here that the Ihuroha is the original name for Ikwerre, But Ikwerre is being adopted today because that is what in the official what gazette. And if you don't adopt that, which is an official gazette in clear communication, there will be a disconnect. And that is why they maintain the issue of let's go by the word Ikwerre, which has then become a global name given to the Igbo word people. But that does not mean that we have forgotten what our origin or our what root. If you go to the Okrika people, they call themselves Okrika. Where we talk about the Kodima and they Okrika. But Baman that know they are Okrika people. But in official communication, they still bear the word Okrika, but Babele Okrika say as the case what may be. So I hope that be able to address that. And also don't ask me further because I wasn't there when they formed the Ogbakor. I spoke with the one I know. You know, I went to teach in one university, you know, no public lecture, you know, somewhere one day. I found that mistake I made, I didn't clear that here. I only made general one. So when I got there, after talking about a lot of things, what's that professor? Say environmental, also read geography. You know, the man asked question, during the question I said, Professor, please, we read for today. He said, because one of the things I told her, how rain can fall. I know that, I said, sir, I don't know whether rain will fall. He said, because as a professor, he said, Okashamana. So since then, whenever I went to give lecture at academic institution, I would say, look, a caveat. I don't have answers to all the questions you do what? Ask. So I don't ask me the kind of question I require native doctor to give me the answer. The issue of female dog, I was told the story. Not only in the Igbo, even in the Ikwerre. Yes. I can't remember the storyline, that's why I was told to say, yeah, that's why in the Ikwerre, female dog, that's how we also, you know, I say, where did they have, you know. But I'll make a call to remember because I have the story, but I can't link it. Not properly. There's something that happened with female dog. I thought I revealed a secret or so that's why they say no, it's not allowed, you know. It revealed a secret that caused, you know, a problem. I can't remember the storyline properly, but I've been told the story. I said, wow, is that why female dogs not allowed? And the most part of the great communities, female dog is not also what allowed. So anyway, then somebody was asking about the what did they you know, mention. Like I said here before now, I'm not teaching the history of Ikwerre. I only made it as an inference or reference to build a background to what I was trying to discuss. And I wasn't there when Wagede came. So I won't be able to answer how he came and why he came there. I beg, send me that one, let me not lie, people. But it's a good question. I've also made some inquiries that if somebody asks me some other time, I'll be able to know what, you know, to say. But very importantly, I made reference say what sociologists will call cultural what diffusion. I'm not saying that Ikwerre culture is what inferior to the Igbos, no. But I want us to also be factual, whether you like it or not. As a par now, assume that 2 or 3 persons has a par. Whether you like it or not, and we keep living together here. That's we start begin to learn our what language. That's the only way he can do what he can fit into the society. That's really what happens. Remember that the Igbos are migrants. They migrate a lot. We here, we don't travel. Yes, our tourists people travel. People even live here. Why are you here? You are coming here because there are greener what pastures. Then they want me to leave greener pasture to go and that's your desert. I won't get anywhere. Understanding what happens. The Igbo land is a land flowing with what? Milk and water. So let me tell you, it's not a matter of being, I'm not just not for saying sake. I did my youth service in Anambra. Where it was the old Anambra and the Nugu, they were together. Now, if you go to a typical Anambra community towards the northern part of it, to cultivate cassava dogra, you will do like this. You will dig this. The land is so stony that you will dig and make a big mold as high as these tables. Before you start putting the cassava stems, then have agric science, those primary school mulching, go do dry grasses to go and there to prevent moisture loss from the water soil. And start when this thing germinates, the heat will not kill it. That's what I know, agriculture, those agri-science, those days. That is how they do that kind of thing, conserve the soil to enable the cassava to survive. But our community rule her land. We rule her stem. Just throw away the seed, everything throw away. Before you know it, you don't need to do anything. How is just to weed to prevent the struggle for nutrients. It will just give you any kind of thing talking about. Try it in Igbo land. Kill that, it will just burn. It will just get burnt. Nothing will happen. So they live there. Coming down like Israel, we are going to the what? Promise what? Land, where everything is flowing. That's exactly what we are coming to do. And they come in their numbers. And let me tell you, sorry to those of you who may marry to Elisomam or whatever. Babylon like this, and they're coming. Whenever. Before I back, but pass out to me. Me from there. So that is exactly what happens. And before you know it, we are intermingling with them. Before that, before you know, they are taking the Maitre market. How many? Which line were they here?
Abla Maitre market.
Oh, sorry, sorry, I'm waiting. Market. Sorry, that's it. You can go to market here.
Thank you.
And they can Polo Park. It will be very, very rare before you hear anybody speak Ikwerre dialect.
That's true.
Even our people, we have to speak, learn the Igbo, so be able to market us. That is what happened. It's not calling. Now because they are more than, and we're not into trading. So almost every shop over. I need to learn the language. Say when you go buy motor parts, we cook. I don't too much. I can't learn the number by force. So what I can know, I can motor parts market. I don't know. Now want to keep one. So now they make like this. And that is exactly what happens. It's not as if that our own culture is inferior to theirs or here to theirs. But when two persons meet, like I'm saying as a typical example, Eleka is dominant, whether you like it or not, and before you know it, to be able to fit in, you begin to align yourself. And then knowing it or unknowingly, before you know it, it becomes part of you. And whenever anything involves marriage, forget it. It is what? It's over. Now, this is not part of my lecture, but so a question that is linked to that has come. I'm tempted not to say anything. And that temptation is also coming. Say something. But all I want to say, God has blessed us. And blessed us. And blessed us, and is still blessing us. Also very, very unfortunate. Back home, sometimes for certain personal or selfish reasons, we try to do certain things which will end up hurting us or haunting us tomorrow. I will say it. Until some few days back, I was the Honorable Commissioner for Education. I resigned voluntarily from the cabinet to show integrity in my own way. Why did I resign? Makamo, when I knew some brought me into politics, I was a university teacher. Hired me to be his commissioner for education. After his tenure, Oguru, governor, Gorieka, Amamrabado, used him as commissioner of education. You know what I did to support, and I came in there. Course of years of Oblano, Yesiga State, Yapuero of years. Without I have been in the cabinet course of years, and I'm doing my own part in my own little way to make sure that the education sector makes progress. At the end of the day, if I succeed, is the governor of the what? State. Because whatever we are doing is for the what? Governor of the what? of Jalan, whatever. It was during the tenure of this person that we built the building, or we did this, whether I like it or not. But it's a collective effort of each and every one of us. So I told myself, with what is happening, this animosity and whatever you call it, this one on the state cabinet, especially that is affecting when we are on par. I will not feel confident that someone kind of meeting was not go when them like this, which I know is wrong. I cannot continue. One day I may get offended and begin to flare up. State, you are sacked. Why you are sacked? He had been what sacked for instance. One big grammar, a lawyer, grammar. So to avoid that, she works with me. I voluntarily left without any apologies. We have to understand, no? Nyesom is a blessing to Ikwerre land. He's a man, Mbono, Anya Dryale. All of you are thieves. Next day, paper, Sokola approved. All of you are thieves. You have also joined them. I'll say to the secretary, I got to approve your paper. If you go to Abuja, Federal Capital today, you'll be proud of no. I was in just for 2 weeks training on this. Everybody that came to speak, you don't like him, you don't like his face, you don't like the way that. But see, FCT Minister, Minister of Fox. FCT Minister, Minister of that's my brother. He is making us proud. I'm not saying he doesn't have his fault, so I'm not saying no, he doesn't have, as a human being, I'm just only fault. But yes, he has been making us proud. You know, today in River State, I'm proud because of this. This 8 years was very memorable for anyone. The same thing to that FCT. So where people are going to do, because they understand, say maybe I'm going to family problem, because whether I like it or not, Ogbakor. One man go one go ready. Zinabali we, Zinabali agu zinaro we. Whether we like it or not, Ogbakor. If us here, some of the people carry to here. Yes, and that's why the problems I want to people. Ogbakor and we are here. America here. Despite that's tomorrow. It's happening. It's not the matter. And that's what happens. Also there at one great Mwaka, in Nigeria. So whatever he does, no matter what, even though he used dollar to declare your face to everybody, he's a bad man. I'm like, that is what happens. That is why all that's what praying for God's grace. Amen. I pray that God will give us victory at the end of it. It will end in praise. Amen. Our brother cannot, he has done so well that God will not allow the enemies of Igbo land to bring him down. Amen. He has finished serving as governor of the state for 8 years. He cannot become governor again. But then one cannot be rubbished because of some personal gains. For certain reasons, I will just end the talk here. When he meets me privately, we can go deeper. I'm making out. As a professor, what's the problem? Everyone does like, come and meet me. So while I was talking, this time to end the lecture, my answers. So I told them that when I was made a professor, I just went to the VC registrar. I want to deliver a lecture. They said, really? It's okay, choose a date. I chose a date. And when I was coming back, I said, wait, what's in my head now? Look at that professor who taught me today. Yeah, don't talk about lecture. What did I talk for? Where is for day now? What I do? Now, I cannot go back to them and tell them that I'm not interested. So when I was coming, something entered my head. Don't worry yourself, just go there. Nobody asks questions during no lecture. Whatever you like to talk, you talk it. Anybody will not like him, make it take like that. I said, God, I have to give my lecture. I'm maker.
All right, we'll ask for, yes. I think let's allow for the appreciation. Let's allow for the appreciation, please.
Ikwerre anumekau. Nderi yamma. Sorry, Prof. Ndeka elabe kuka Ikwerre anumekau. So please, on behalf of Ogbakor USA Canada, on behalf of our President, Executive Committee, and members of this great body, we would like to thank the Honorable Professor Prince C. Mom for his wonderful presentation. It was a very well delivered lecture. We thank you for speaking about the Ikwerre legacy. Not only did you talk about that, you spoke about Ikwerre culture, you spoke about trusting each other, leadership in Ikwerre, and we as people looking out for one another. Thank you for traveling all the way from Nigeria, giving us your time, your efforts, and also your expertise. And as we can all see, the lecture was well received with all the questions and answers. And we thank you again for coming, and we hope that there will be many more lectures like this and interactions with you. Yeah.
Thank you. Prof, please, on behalf of the House, we would ask that you make your lecture available so that we can share with permission. I'll take that from you and share with the House. So, thank you once again. We appreciate you. At this time, we'll move on quickly to committee reports. If you look on your program, it says committee reports. The first report, which is the meat of the matter, is the health committee. Okay. I would allow Dr. Oji, who is the chair of that committee, to chair this report.
We use this opportunity to introduce Dr. Mrs. Court. Dr. Mrs. Joe Court is going to present our report to us. Dr. Court, please.
Please, while she's coming up, somebody misplaced there. There's a headphone that is missing. So if you took a headphone that does not belong to you, please, I would like to exchange it. The owner is looking for it. This cord does not, is looking for the owner. This is an iPhone. You mistakenly took somebody's Android and left this. Please see me. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Ikwerre Anumekau, depending on where you're from. I'm from Iba, Ovuahu. I don't know if you say Ikwerre Anumekau, but the other one I learned today is Awarumo. So you guys are confusing me. I'll talk to my husband later. Whichever one he decides that they say in Ovuahu, that's the one we will say. But for right now, Ikwerre Anumekau, all right, thank you so much. On behalf of the Health Committee, which I'm still a member of, even though I'm not the health administrator, and the only reason I'm giving this report, you all, EC and General Assembly gave us the permission to continue with the, health medical mission during the last convention, because we had started the planning process before. I think it was because of the Nigerian election. We didn't do our medical mission in March. We pushed it to October. And for that reason, we were still, started planning already. So you gave us the permission to go ahead before we had our election, which, thank you, Dr. Oji, for being the new health administrator. But I will go ahead and give this because I was on grounds in Nigeria in October last year for the medical mission. So I prepared this report. They told me I have to greet His Excellency, the Rivers State Governor, Sir Siminalayi Fabura. Please pardon me if I'm not pronouncing that name correctly. Fubara, okay. Honorable Dr. Chidi Lloyd, Emoha Local Government Chairman, AZ Dr. God's Power, Onwekwa, hey, Saloba, go help me today. President General Ogbakor Ikwerre Worldwide, President of OIUSA Canada, Mr. Patrick Ayamuke, and all the ex-presidents, distinguished members of the OIUSA Canada, EC, the General House, Elewere, which I don't greet now already, and friends, and all other protocols observed. So here is the report from our medical mission that was conducted last year in October. So it is my privilege to address the General Assembly today as we reflect on the impactful journey of the OIUSA Canada Free Medical Surgical Mission outreach in 2023. So before I even delve into the comprehensive report, which is going to be brief, of our mission, I extend my heartfelt congratulations to all of us OIUSA Canada members on its remarkable 29th anniversary. So may our unity and wisdom guide us in our noble mission, in Jesus' name. Amen. So during the medical mission that was held last year, from October 9th to 13th, 2023, in Emoha Local Government Council Headquarters in Emoha, Rivers State, Nigeria, our dedicated health committee, the A-team, and volunteers embarked on a journey to provide vital medical care to those in need. This endeavor was not just about treating ailments. It was showing compassion and restoring hope and dignity to our fellow human beings in Ehoroha land. Our mission encompassed a range of medical services, including general surgeries, pediatric care, dental treatments, medical consultations, and our team worked tirelessly for 5 days. And before that, before on ground, we worked tirelessly preparing for this mission. Over a year, we used to, start making preparation before we actually embark on the mission. So we worked really hard, and we saw 5,802 patients last year. We saw a lot of people. And one person may actually go through a lot of departments. You can see somebody in general clinic today. That same person might go for surgery, they might go for eye. So we just pay attention to so many people with different diagnoses. Every patient received personalized attention and care. So this included children for pediatric concerns, excluding pediatric surgeries, which really broke our hearts. I'll come to that later. The total number of eye patients was about 1,246 patients. There's a huge need for eye. Our fathers there, our mothers there, our grandmothers there, they can still do so much with a simple procedure such as just removing a cataract from their eye that will help them see better, a lot of them. So we distributed about 492 free eyeglasses. General surgeries done included lipomas and hernias, and we did a total of 57 of those. And then we attended to about 59 dental patients. We had one cesarean delivery, a bouncing baby girl. Yes. And then general practice also attended to various medical concerns such as, chronic pain. You know how that is. A lot of our older people have arthritis at home and it's chronic. Diabetes, both type 1 and type 2. We had malaria, typhoid, high blood pressure, bacterial infections. Different concerns were addressed. So the 5-day program recorded all that I said earlier, but we had malaria people, about 3,824 people came with malaria concerns, and typhoid as well. So among the remarkable cases that emerged from our mission, one really stands out. If you have been following, you saw some of the pictures when we came back. We posted a lot of pictures. So one really stood out. It is the case of a 66-year-old woman, which we term our star patient, who had carried a lipoma on her back for 27 years. I don't know if that's what they used to call hunchback or something like that. They have it like on their back like that. This woman, she was still very strong, healthy looking, but she had carried this burden on her back for like 27 years. And according to her, when we talked to her, she said she was called a witch in her own local village area then. She was even treated like an outcast. People were running away from her because they said she's a witch. That's why she developed that condition. Yes. She was, so through our intervention, she underwent a very successful surgery. And all the news media around the area covered it. We were very proud and grateful. And then she now experienced freedom and relief from years of discomfort and humiliation. Similarly, we had a young man burdened by a hernia case since the age of 16 and was able to undergo surgery as well. But this young man was very, very appreciative because he said there's so many things, and the hernia was really huge. I think it was I don't remember if it was umbilical hernia, I don't remember which particular one, but it was a problem for him. And he said his parents didn't have the money to take care of this surgery. They've been trying for many years. So he was very, very grateful for that service. Behind these success stories lies the unwavering support of our community and partners. All of us who put our heads together, right? Central to our mission in 2023 was our commitment to addressing the critical issue of breast health awareness and care. We recognize the alarming disparity in breast cancer diagnosis rates among Black women. In fact, evidence-based research has shown that Black women have about 43% health mortality rate that other races, often resulting in advanced stage detection and higher mortality rates. So therefore, the month of October, when we were home, being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we placed special emphasis on educating our women at home about breast health and self-examination, empowering them to take charge of their well-being. So through clinical breast exams, ultrasounds, mammograms, and cervical cancer screenings, Mrs. Ngozewele played a huge role in this part because we all know her history, and by the special grace of God, and she was really, really, really blessed to give a good education to this woman. As a matter of fact, they were all doing breast cancer exams, a breast self-exam at the field, and they were so happy doing it. Thank you so much, Mrs. Welle. The impact of our breast cancer care initiative cannot be overstated. By equipping women with knowledge and resources, we aim to break the cycle of late diagnosis and ensure better outcomes for our communities. So the ripple effects of our efforts extend far beyond individual patients. We reach families and neighbors, and our plan is to continue to do that. So I extend my deepest gratitude to all who contributed to this mission through donations, volunteerism, or advocacy. Your generosity has transformed lives and brought hope to the marginalized and underserved. A big shout out to all members of the Health Committee team, the A team. We welcome all the new members that have joined us, and our team, our members on grounds. We thank everybody. Thank you for your selfless sacrifice for our people. So as we reflect on the challenges and success of the medical mission that we just had in 2023, we are reminded of the grace of God, the power of compassion and collective action. Our work is far from over, but with faith and determination, we will continue to make a difference in the lives of those in need. Together, let us reaffirm our commitment to serving humanity and building a healthier, more equitable world for all of us. Now, there were some challenges we faced. I didn't really want to go into all of them, but during the planning time, we had started with, having a partner. As a matter of fact, we did this mission 100% alone. There's no partnership. Was not my choice initially. We started planning, we had partners, but just a few weeks before the mission, they decided, due to some irreconcilable differences, that they weren't going to be able to, be part of us. So you can imagine what happened. We didn't freak out. The A team came together, put our heads together, we worked it out by the grace of God. So we did this mission 100%. And we want to really thank all of you for your donations. I know Mr. President had mentioned about global giving. It's really important that when we reach out, that you all try your best. And we know that things are hard, but if you think about the smile that you put on people's faces, you will just do the best you can to help out. So there's a need for adequate general and pediatric surgeons. When I said earlier that we had pediatrics, but we did not do any surgery for the children because we didn't have any pediatric surgeon. We need resources. And I know amongst us, there are a lot of medical professionals. And I understand. Most of us have little kids. You can't leave them behind. Family, job, time. There's a whole lot of challenges. But whatever you can do to help, the more volunteers we have from here, the less we have to worry about paying for volunteers, and that will help us. I really want to appreciate our team. Even though you were assigned to one department, one person was all over the place. Reverend Ogbakor, if I begin to name names, he was in charge of pharmacy, crowd control. If you are on grounds, you will understand what I'm talking about. Ms. Ogbakor was in charge of registration. You have to be there to understand what I'm talking about. So we need all the help that we can get, I'm still a member of that committee. We all need to put our hands together and help Dr. Oji, because it's not easy, all right? So we need adequate eye surgery team. We've been discussing about if it's possible, if we want to stay on one, instead of doing everything we've been doing the way we've been doing it, we're thinking of maybe paying more attention to just having a medical mission for eye, because there's a great need. Or just having for surgery, general surgery, there's a great need. So we need that resources, we need it. Without that, we can't do anything. There's a need for financial support. In fact, we can't stress that enough. So before we move on, I know we're wrapping up for the evening. I would like to invite Ms. Obiwale and Ms. Joan Ogbakor. Ms. Obiwale is the new chair for the Health Committee. And what we want to do just a little brief exercise. And I know that we have to leave shortly. But I'll give the mic back to the Health Administrator, and he'll tell us what the next step is. But thank you so very much for your support, and God bless you.
And thank you, Dr. Cox. I would like everybody to stand. We've been sitting for the last 10 minutes. Can we just stand? So we don't look blood and our feet. Thank you. While we do that, I'll give this honorable ladies here this mic. Mrs. Joan Ogbakor and Princess Nneka Obiwale. The show is up to you, ladies.
Ikwerre Anumekau. Please, let's sit down. Last year, Sarah, Judge, last year we had, I had the pleasure of joining the medical team, and that's thanks to Mrs. Ngozi Wele that recruited me. I wanted to go into 2021, but I was afraid because that was still COVID time. But when she talked to me in Baton Rouge, I decided to join. And I'm standing here today to tell you that since I became a member of Ikwerre, this is the biggest thing I've ever done. And I'm standing here today to testify because if you're not part of it, you will not understand. But when I got to Nigeria and actually got to participate in helping people in our community, my God, what a fulfilling journey it was. You realize, you see how people are desperate for health help. Just something we here take just common to us. It's like no big deal because we just get it and we receive it. But in Nigeria, they don't have that. You see our mothers, our fathers, sisters, brothers and sisters suffering, even with common chronic pains, no help. So they were rushing, they were coming when they had free medical, and that was what it was. It was 100% free. And that's because of all of you here and our partners. People like the local government chair, Chidi Lloyd, and everybody else that came together. The Dr. Chisa and Eze Timothy, where they made sure we got all the meds we needed from America, and we had a lot of medications back home. So today, please, what we're here, we're planning, getting ready for the 2023 2025. I'm still stuck on that because it was an awesome journey. I'm standing here today calling on every single one of us to step up, please. Let's get ready. We're getting ready for, we'll take it as we get ready for this 2025 convention. And I'm going to kick off this exercise by, and you know me, if I'm putting my money here, that means it is something worthwhile. And I'm going to be donating $500 for this occasion. So please, raise your hand up and I'll come to you to help us. We're trying to raise funds. We need all the money we can get, please, for 2025. Do I have anybody?
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. I don't like talking too much. To support this, I will give $200.
Mrs. Nchegem, RJ, $300.
Thank you, my sister.
Princess Ndeka, thank you so much. Listen, we cannot overemphasize the importance of medical mission. I said it before, it remains the most impactful program that we have going for us. The impact that we're making in the Ikwerre land is unbelievable. You just need to know and hear what people are saying about this medical mission. We've got to continue it, and I'm going to support it with another $500.
President Patrick Anyawoke, $500.
Ikwerre Tameka.
Dearly.
They say on easy lies the head and we have the crown. The fact that I am the admin of this novel cause, that even though behind the door, we do all the legwork and try to fill in, I would like to start supporting this. I would like to start, it does not stop here, with $1,000.
$1,000. Dr. Dawson Oji. Because I'm quite and don't forget that the wife also gave 300, so we're talking about 1,200 from one family.
Well done, thank you.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
My name is Miss Florence Daniel. My husband is sitting up there. He's the secretary. So I'm giving 500 for this. I would like to be present. I pray that I will make it.
That's what we're talking about.
Mrs. Daniel.
Florence.
Mrs. Florence Daniel. $500. I'm donating 500. Mrs. Patience Osai, popularly known as our very own Dada. $500.
Because I've been there and I know what I saw, I know what I experienced, and I'm volunteering to go there in 2025. I will donate $500. Not only that, when I get back to New Jersey, I'll tell my wife the story of what happened here. I'll let them know how much my wife is donating.
I have a hand here.
My big brother, friend, Mr. Chika Wosu, Logistics International, $500.
I have a mic here.
Okay.
So my name is Michael Woji. I'm donating $500.
Our own very brother, Mike Woji, $500.
Mike, make a way.
Okay, to support my wife, I don't know, many of you know, some of you know me, Mr. Emmanuel. I used to be Ikoko Daniel. Some of you know Ikoko, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to support my wife. I think she's probably going to go there, but I might go. I may not. But let's the family give 1,000, so I give 500.
Mr. Daniel Ikoko.
That's my father's name.
$500 is supporting his wife. So we're talking about 1,000 from the family.
I'm here with my brother.
Thank you.
He said I should introduce him properly. I'm in trouble now. He said I should introduce him properly. This is Anthony. She's the AC. Attorney at law, my barrister, uncle, big brother.
Anyway, this health mission is one of the most impactful in OIUSS
We have not decided where to go, but wherever it is, what I was trying to say is, look at the Port Harcourt. You might end up not getting 10% of
The natives.
in Port Harcourt. So I don't know. You guys have to work it out. This is a very touchy, touchy situation now. So, but anyway, in any case, $1,000.
Chidi Eze in the house. $1,000.
First of all, I want to thank all of us for this kind of extremely humanitarian approach to humanity. Helping people from whom you expect nothing is the highest evidence of humanity. When you give and expecting something, I don't know the basis on which you can say is in the father. You won't see so many indigenous. I don't understand that kind of thing. If you go to the Kaya, once having gone to how can you say that kind of thing? You don't know Ogum or Abale, or Zumbu, or Mukalabo, or Ogbakor, or Bob. Man, this is New York, that's why. I tell you that, does it really matter? No. If on medical grants he gives assistance to a Jew, does it really matter? No. It doesn't matter. Talk about humanity, please. Because may I $1,000.
My own very dear brother, that clarify our own side of the government. $1,000.
Runu wenu, and make out. You gotta make out. I'm so much of my issue. I can Martin, I make a medical mission. But no, my own family. One, 2 nurses. One nurse practitioner. I'm almost 2 medical doctors. So, Ushnanaga, I'm going to donate 500. And we're supposed to be in the next one.
Because the family of my dear brother here, Max Ikwerre, is donating $500.
On behalf of my sisters, we're donating $500.
Please, Miss Roslyn Ajoko is donating $500.
I am so moved. I was there live, and I know what we're talking about. I will make it $1,000.
Has now raised her $500 to $1,000. It's not easy. So we're talking about $2,000 from their family. Listen, I'm a volunteer here. I will call you by name if you don't respond.
On behalf of myself and my family and my dear wife, we are going to be donating $2,000.
How about that? Saroka Echendo. $2,000.
Ikwerre, yes. Manu when we out on the roof of what that, no donate 500.
Doctor and Doctor Mrs. Owonda, Godpower Owonda, $500. Because I'm one of that.
I'm wearing more. Ele wana sagri. Osagri. Ele marmo osagri. On behalf of my family and my daughter who just graduated as a medical doctor, no donated $500.
Princess Mrs. Adeze Ogundo and her family, $500.
Grab the cow.
Yeah.
And the make cow.
Yeah.
I like what I'm seeing here. The medical mission, I share. And I don't know, God's willing, some of us may join you this. And I want to support my brother, Wobu. They can know in the Port Harcourt, you're mistaken. So come and see us. We are there. On behalf of me and my wife, because I need $600.
Mr. and Mrs. Maxwell Oparado, $600. That's good.
Please, this to me. Come on, go for it.
I'm Michael. I'm a child board. So next year, is it next year or?
Yes, next year.
Okay. I will be part of the for next year. That will be the first time to go, and we'll donate $500.
This is Charlotte Wadi, and also the current president of Avon Apara Daughters.
See one in front of you. Yes. On behalf of my husband and me and my family, we are going to donate this sum of 1,000. Yes. And then I'm also going to use this opportunity just to tell you people that I'm still going to support you guys on this narrow by narrow. Yes. Because then I did a good job this time around, yes. So I made people to volunteer, to donate towards it. So then during the next time, I will still do more than what I did. Yeah.
Here. Okay. This is another Houstonian. Let me appreciate Mrs. Rosemary. So, Princess Mrs. Rosemary Amadi. That's right. And Chief, or is it? Ben Amadi. That's my brother. $1,000. Our Ikwerre USA women leader, and she's working so hard. Yes, very, very effective.
Okay, so I'm Rebecca. So Nyewora zalapa so ayo kwezo. Nyewora zala so njola me ha me be meli ho be meli, okay? But man can me I can work because they carry him. So on behalf of my husband who is not here, we donate and we will give you $500.
That's my sister right there. My own very sister, Mrs. Patience Ikwerre, the current chairperson, OIUSA Planning Committee for this very convention. In Kalaman, we make $500. Fide is a beer.
But I may go. And I wasn't here when the things were said. But as a Christian, as a minister, I will continue to pray for the mission team. And I will go hope that God to guide you and protect you. And besides that, behind my wife and myself, we will give you $500.
Reverend and Mrs. Manjo, $500. I'm one of our Kabiko. President Emeritus, Mr. Ryan Wage, Mr. Pat, do not support your sister. Support your sister, man. That's not like you. What's going on? That's not very unlike you.
I can't believe you.
Uncle.
President Emeritus.
I know you're a part of the time.
So, okay, I'm going to slap actually. So, I won't say very much, but I will support you guys for 1,000.
I told you, Mom, Mr. and Mrs. Irania Weche, $1,000.
Retired U.S. Army Sylvester Webu. Man of my wife, Joy, would like to support you with $500.
Okay, you said it's a combo?
Let me allow him to speak for himself because those titles are very important.
As I was telling you, that's why I have to.
The president gave it to me. He's Colonel, U.S. Army retired.
Okay.
U.S. Army retired.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for
$500 for a retired colonel. Webu, because Yanu family, I'm one of our.
We are very passionate about the medical mission for various reasons, and Eric and I have served in the medical mission passionately. We're one of the couples that are always there in person. We will continue to support, and at this time, we will support today with $500.
Please, this is Mr. and Mrs. Eric Welle's baby, this medical mission. Very passionate about it. And you know, this couple, not only are they putting their time and money, effort, everything, so, and you know they're going to be on ground. So, $500. They are wanting me to stop. Why?
My name is Anthony Ofuro. My wife here, Caroline Ofuro. I witnessed the last medical mission in Emowa local government, where I am from. I went home. Coincidentally, I did not pledge here. I want to make it clear. Last time when I went, I did not tell I was going to, participate. But what happened was I went there. Coincidentally, when that was existing. So I have to go there to my local government. I went and visited. So I went there, saw the activities there. Very, very impressive. Very, very, very impressive. I loved it. In fact, I said next time I may have to volunteer and participate. Yeah, well, may because of schedule. But I think the chances are higher I may go next time to support. I don't know where it will be held, whatever local government or Ogbakor, but wherever it is. But anyway, today I want to, what I saw there, Chika was working really hard. Reverend, you see here, what I said, oh, Sarah, peace, and Nick, everybody. But I applauded you. Even the president was there, been running around. I wish I was there, I would have done that, but I have to go back the same day. I told the president, he called me, I told him I was going back the same day. I was very, very disappointed. But thank you for what you did, my brother. On your wife, Ngozi, thank you for what you did. I'm going to support with my wife $500.
Another Estonian, Mr. and Mrs. Tony come for $500. They have
This one by force.
Yes.
Last night, I want me for high chair. I don't ask for that. Then today again, and I want to I don't understand.
One thing I will tell you is everybody will make this ladies. I will make this. I will get on the invoice tonight. Only 30 because I'm done. I will get them for record since on the pledge. That one I want to work on them. And another thing we say, the medical mission through the global healing. Anytime we make it comes out and we campaign for it, we have an advantage to raise money. It doesn't matter whether your $20 lunch money could give us $50. So as members, let us focus on those things that these are all cheap money. We can get them just for us, but just by us investing $20 or $25. Little by little, we're going to get that. That's one of the ways we can raise money. And there are some people here who are on monthly subscription. You can go into monthly subscription, $20, $10, anyhow you want to put into it. You put into it. There are matches coming in, so we can also benefit from it and make out. But on behalf of my family, I'm donating $500.
This time it is I who wanted it.
I'm upgrading my sister's donation to $1,000.
Chief in the house.
Remember what? You didn't say that. Chief, remember what? Ambassador.
Okay, Chief, remember what? $500. Because
She updated.
No. All the sisters. I gave 500. So she gave 500.
She done on behalf of them.
Thank you. All their names.
Okay. So, if you say the Floridian sisters.
Okay.
Okay, so the sister.
Yes, 1,000 for the sister.
Chief Omema
for the sister. In fact, make it 1,500.
$1,500.
I'm Onyizi, and so as a servant, somebody called me and says, what is going on here? And they say, we are fundraising for medical. I say, oh, I don't want to pledge. Here is your cash. Prof has given his pledge, $200.
$200. Because cash. Thank you. Okay. All right. So they want me to wrap this up. Listen, don't miss your opportunity to feature in this wonderful.
The train is moving.
This train is moving. If you're not on it, I'm sorry for you. So, because I'm in a time. If any one of you still want to donate, feel free to see me and give, and we will still recognize you sometime in the gala night or this evening or whenever. So you'll be recognized. So please, I know there are a lot of you that are not here. Spread the news, and we still need help. Because remember, this is the most impactful thing Ogbakor is doing right now in our community. We are touching lives. There's nothing like it. You know? Whatever little we use to help our people is right. They pray for you, and God will replenish your pockets.
Thank you. Quickly, to piggyback on what Ike one of these said, every donation, please, if you're sending a check, you send it to Mrs. Cynthia Anele. We'll forward that address to you. But on your check, please put memo, medical mission. Please. Put memo. If you want to Zelle, we'll also send you send the Zelle information. We'll have the people who play, so we'll send you an email with the Zelle information. And when you sell, for any money you're making, memo, medical mission, so that fund will not be channeled to Ikwerre fund. We want it channeled to medical mission.
Yeah. So one last thing before we close. Just one last thing, please. If you're here and you're a medical personnel, meaning doctors, nurse practitioners, and you wish to join us, pharmacists, we were very, very short-handed in the pharmacy department. This last mission, we had to hire instantly 5 pharmacists and pay them top naira. We paid those 5 pharmacists, what we paid the other pharmacists for 1 week, we paid them for 1 day. Wow. So if you're here, your child is a pharmacist, or you are a pharmacist, we need pharmacists, and we need 10 pharmacists. So please, if you're here, raise up your hand if you're a medical provider, nurse practitioner, doctor. We don't have a problem with the nurses. The nurses volunteer. So I'm not disrespecting nurses or neglecting them, but we need providers. Nurse practitioners, physician assistants, and doctors. The nurses always volunteer. I know they're coming. We appreciate you. So if you're here and you're a provider, please raise your hand. And if you want to come to the next mission, we want to get your contact so we can put you in our database and we can update you. The next medical mission is March 8th to 12, 2025. We've been putting this out. You have had a year to prepare to take time off from work. So time off from work and all that should not be the problem. Please, thank you for all the donations, but most importantly, we need you on the ground.
Just one last thing.
I have a question. Why is it that medical mission not have an account? Why are we paying this money to somebody's account? Whose account? Not somebody's account.
Okay, because I thought I heard somebody saying, that's why I'm asking.
To clarify, the money goes to the treasurer. Cynthia Anele is the treasurer, and so she will get the check and deposit in the OIUSA account.
Most importantly, you have to put Medical mission. Put that name of medical mission. So OISA do not take our money and run with
The date is
10 to 14.
10 to 14.
March
Somebody
10
say
to
8.
14.
Okay.
Who put that?
March 10th to 14th. Please.
2025.
Not 8. Not 8. Yeah. Please tell us.
Okay, even though we are done, but somebody called me, one of my brothers called me to the side and said he got his wife's permission, so he just have to do something with everybody else. Mr. and Mrs. Elijile Baluku, $300. And you can find
All right, so this will continue tomorrow. I have an announcement to make, please. For those who are unable to register today, to get your name tag, please, you will need your name tag to come into the hall tomorrow. So, before you leave, check with the registration desk to make sure that you're up to date with your dues and you can get your name tag to get in here tomorrow. We will need to get your dues up to date. You can pay by cash, Zelle, card, Bitcoin, Venmo, Cowrie. We will take your money, please. Stop. Naira, we will take. Just stop by and make your dues up to date. Okay, at this point, we want to ask for those who are medical personnel, if you raise your hand or signal them so that we can continue. Ms. Willie, there's a hand on this side. For volunteer. On this side, please. On that side of the hall. Sorry, is this in regards to medical mission? Okay. Because we're on committee report right now. All right, thank you. So let's move on to media and rapid response committee reports. The remaining reports are going to be quick. They will be in the next 5 minutes and we should be done.
So, I'm Macau.
Yes.
I'm Macau.
Yes.
It looks like some people have already left, but let me just say one thing. What you have done here today guarantees that we are going to have our 2025 medical mission. This is what we call unprepared, unplanned act of kindness, and that is what you have demonstrated here today. Ikwerre people, I cannot thank you enough. I am excited and I'm humbled by the fact that you have answered this call tonight to ensure that we can have another impactful medical mission next year. Thank you so much, and may God bless you. The donation...
Please do not leave, we're not done yet.
The donation is not over. We're still going to continue. If you have something to donate as we move on to the next program tomorrow, please know that you can still donate. There are other fundraising priorities that we have. Hopefully that you all show up, because as you have shown up here today for the medical mission. Because a couple of things that we have on the agenda, I want to make sure that I clear them before we leave today so that we don't have to carry them over. And I'll go through them very, very quickly and very briefly. The Media Response Committee, I just want to thank members of this rapid response committee that we have. Anytime there is a need for Ikwerre people to speak up on something that matters to our entire ethnic nationality, it is always important that we make our position known, and we do that by doing a press release and engaging the media to make sure that our voices are heard loud and clear. And so, since last year, unfortunately, Professor Wunda could not join us here today. But I want to especially thank the media committee for all their efforts. Professor Chris Obonda has the contact in Nigeria with the media team over there, and so anytime we need to do a press release, he always knows how to get to these people and they're able to do something for us. And given that we don't really have enough of money to spend in this area, I tell you, I have reached out to a number of individual members here to say, hey, listen, we've got to do something. And a lot of you have answered the call. DK Chendo is one of them, and I highly appreciate him. Ike Wanabe, Dr. Ogwemejuru, Chika Wosu, Eze Charles Wapara, all of you. And anytime I call on you to say, hey, I need money to do a press release, and I don't have no money in the OSS fund to do it, these people have always answered the call. So thank you so much. But our media committee is very critical because they are our voice in a lot of ways. And when it comes to something that we need to tell the world, the best way to do it is by doing a press release. So we thank them. I've talked about the population count committee. It is a project that is very critical. And the reason that is critical, I said it before, it is important that we identify every Ikwerre person that lives in the United States and Canada. And that is how we're going to increase and grow our community. That is part of the membership drive that is very critical to make sure that this body is able to sustain Ogbakor for generations to come and to ensure that we have a thriving community in North America. So that population count will be taking place very shortly. Mrs. Piso Gunle, who is leading that effort with other members, Mike Woji, Vera Ezrayen, a couple of other people, Judith. She will also be part of that committee. And I have to tell you, I am very, very, very passionate about this because I do believe, and as most of you have stated, the prof said it, we have more Ikwerre people outside of this group that we do not know. And we can identify them through this effort. That is the reason why it's very critical. This committee will be reaching out to you individually. You will know someone that we don't know. When they reach out to you, please help them identify these people so that we can reach out to them. They'll be passing out a form today that you can take home and give to these individuals as part of that population count. The fundraising committee, we've set up a new fundraising committee under the leadership of my brother, Mr. Chika Wosu. Chika Wosu is going to be leading that effort. Look, money is critical in the sense that we need it to be able to sustain a lot of the programs and to keep this organization going. So Chika will be working with some of the people that have volunteered to be part of this committee. And I tell you, these are very serious-minded people. They love this community, and they are determined to ensure that we raise the fund that we need to continue to pursue the programs that are of great interest to our community and to this organization. I want to really talk really briefly about the Obi-Wan Endowment project, the research project. This project has been in limbo for too long. And the reason that is the case is because no one is willing to step up to lead that effort. Obi-Wan Endowment Fund research project is critical for the research that is needs to be conducted in the Ikwerre land. And the fact that we do not have people that wants to take on this project, run with it, and ensure that we achieve what we need to achieve, you know, for that effort. It is really troubling. But I have reached out to a number of people. I'm hoping that before the next convention, that we're going to have something positive to report about the Obi-Wan Endowment Research Project. In addition to that, we talked about our educational programs, such as the scholarship program. We have not given any scholarship for the last 2 years. And I briefly referenced that in my speech that perhaps we may need to think about how to decentralize some of these programs. And I tell you why I think that might be the best route to go. but it will be left up to this body for us to decide on that. I know too well that the Houston, IPA Houston, has a very robust scholarship program that is working out very well, very effectively. And what I have recommended to the EC committee that we do is there to collaborate with the IPA. If IPA Houston is given 5 scholarships every year, we can match that with another 5 scholarships and have a collaborative effort. We can match that and collaborate with them because they already have a structure at the local chapter that is working so very well. We can use that platform to still accomplish the same objective at the national level. But look, it's a food for thought. I'm not saying that we should do it, but I want us to think about it. There are other programs that we can collaborate with local chapters because local chapters, some of these things can better be run at the local chapter. They have the structure in place. They have members, that are working on it. We can collaborate with them. There's really nothing wrong that showing, Ikwerre USA and IPA local chapter collaborated to do A, B, C, and D. The same thing with the California chapter. I talked about the widow project that they have, that we can team up with them, contribute towards that, and make it a collaborative effort. And that's the effective way that we can deliver some of these projects, without, delaying and wasting more time on them. So these are things that we're going to carry over tomorrow because I do want to have a robust conversation about some of these. So that is that. On that note, let me call on our Apple Vice President, Dr. Seaford Ige, to just quickly give us a tribute, pay a little tribute to our late brother, Dr. Herbert Igwe. It will be very brief, and then we will wind up for the day and get ready for the local hosted visit.
And make out. So the tribute, this paper, we have it here. I have been given just 2 minutes to talk. It's not enough to read this. Please let us all read it up. What I can only say is that maybe he would have been here with us today because the president said, Seaford, that is assignment for you. Make sure he comes. I spoke to the father. The father said, I will organize meeting for you and him. California is far, but I will make sure you both speak so that he will tell you whether he will be coming or not. And we spoke like twice. By the next time I wanted to hear from the man, it was a different story altogether. I was able to represent the organization. I visited the father twice. I was in the service of song. The president had already observed the mini silent for him, so may his soul rest in peace.
Thank you so much. Just like the VP rightly said, I wanted to say something very quickly about Dr. Herbert Igwe and how that personally impacted me. Because I traveled home as part of my engagement effort to bring and invite our people back home to come to this convention. And on my way to visiting the Nyewe Eze Ishoku Chief Bless Ogbakor, to deliver an invitation to him and at the same time have him help us to get to Herbert Igwe. When I got to Ishoku roundabout, I saw this big old imposing signboard that says Igwe University. And it has an arrow pointing towards Oboro, if you've ever been to Ishoku. And I was touched. I took a ride down to Oboro just to see for myself what this university looks like. And my brothers and sisters, what I saw was marvelous. What I saw was impressive. What I saw was something that we should all be proud of. And I was touched. And coming back, and after leaving Ishoku the next day, and this news came that we lost our brother here in California in a chopper crash, I was devastated. This is someone that I was trying to reach, to come to our convention, to be a keynote speaker. And we were very close to having just a telephone conversation with him, and this happened. Here's the thing, the reason why I think it is critically important that we pay tribute to Igwe. Dr. Herbert Wigwe did not go to Abuja, did not go to South Africa, did not go to Dubai, or any other state for that matter, to locate a prestigious university. But he brought it to his village, to Ishopo, a village, to build a prestigious university, which would have been one of the best. And I pray it will still be one of the best. Yes. But he did that for the love of his community, for the love of his people. Because he said, if they can have it elsewhere, we can have it in my community. Mm-hmm. And because of what he did, he put Ishopo on the map and also put Ikwerre people on the map again. It was a big loss for our community, but our prayer is that that vision will live on. That vision will live on, and that we will be inspired. Many of us will be inspired to be just like him, if not more. I want to quickly bring this meeting today to a closure. This has been a very, very productive meeting. And I am so thankful because when we started, we were 2 hours behind and I was getting worried. I said, oh my God, what are we going to do? But look, given where we are now, I can say that this was a very successful meeting today. And it was because of all of you, each and every one of you. The role that you played here today, your presence, just being here today, made this all successful. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you've done here today. It shows that our community, there's hope in our community, that we can carry on this organization for as long as it takes. Our community will grow in North America, and we'll do greater things. And we'll be proud of a community that we are building and that we're going to be bequeathing to the next generation. Thank you so much. But tonight, this journey continues. This event continues. The local chapter will be hosting us. I want you to make sure that you're there because they have been preparing for this for the longest. And they are going to deliver a great event tonight. So on that note, I'll call on my dear brother, our Reverend, to give us a closing prayer so that we can all go back, refresh, take a few minutes, dress up, and get ready. By the way, that event is going to be happening right here in the hotel. Okay? So we're not going outside. It will be right here in the hotel. We should all look forward to it. Ameka, Reverend.
May we please rise on our feet so that we pray. Gracious Lord, we are grateful and thank you for today. This is the day which the Lord has made. We rejoice and we're glad. Thank you, Lord, for all that we have done today, the deliberations, and thank you for the far-reaching decisions. Thank you, dear Lord, for the keynote speech, and thank you for the way forward for our communities. We are grateful to you. We return all glory. Thank you for leading us thus far. Thank you for the breakfast. Thank you for the strength you've given to all of us. We return all glory to you, our Father, in the precious name of Jesus. Amen. Now, Lord, we bring this meeting to a close. We commend and commit ourselves to you and ask that, Lord, the remaining part of the event should continue to lead us. Be our guide, be our guard. Lord, lead us. Let everything be to the glory of your name. Thank you, our Father and our God. In Jesus' most precious name, we have prayed. Amen. Amen.
I don't understand what Chika is doing, but he's giving an impression that I don't support it. It is very, no, don't tell me what happened. You know where I'm going. It's been like a joke, but I'm not taking it as a joke anymore because it's gone too far. Would you I don't have
That might be the friend. Anytime, anything. Oh.
Kenny Hanuka, I'm a very professional, like because you cannot go see it, because it's an identity. You know where I have a
I'm aware of how
you